worked as a park ranger for almost 7 years before I saw something that made me question everything I thought I knew about the wilderness. Most people imagine the job is peaceful. They picture scenic trails, wildlife, smiling hikers asking for directions, and quiet afternoons in a lookout tower. Most days, that's exactly what it is. But every ranger has stories they don't tell visitors. This is mine. It happened during late October, just after the tourist season ended. The campground was nearly empty, and the forest had that strange silence that comes when winter is getting close. The leaves had already fallen, exposing miles of dark trees that seemed to stretch forever. I was assigned to patrol the northern section of the park, an area visitors rarely entered because the trails were long and easy to get lost on. Around 4 in the afternoon, dispatch radioed me about an abandoned pickup truck sitting near an old service road. The vehicle had been there nearly 2 days. Normally, that meant a broken-down hunter or someone who ignored parking regulations. I figured I'd leave a warning notice and move on. When I reached the truck, something felt wrong immediately. The driver's door was wide open. The keys were still hanging in the ignition. A half-full coffee cup sat in the cup holder, and a backpack rested on the passenger seat. It looked like someone had stepped out for only a minute, but according to dispatch, no one had returned. I called the license plate into headquarters. The truck belonged to a local man in his early 40s. His wife had reported him missing the previous evening. My stomach tightened. Missing person searches weren't unusual, but they were always serious. I grabbed my flashlight, marked my GPS location, and started following a faint trail leading into the woods. About 50 yards in, I found footprints. Only one set. Large hiking boots. The strange part wasn't where they went, it was where they stopped. The prints simply ended. No signs of turning around, no animal tracks, no drag marks, nothing. The soft mud should have preserved every step. Instead, the final footprint looked like someone had vanished into thin air. I stood there for almost a minute trying to convince myself I had missed something. That's when my radio crackled. Only static. Then a voice, very quietly. "Can you hear me?" It wasn't dispatch. It sounded exactly like the missing man. Before I could answer, the signal disappeared. I checked the frequency. Everything was normal. I called headquarters. They replied immediately. No one had transmitted. I didn't mention what I'd heard. I kept walking. The forest grew unnaturally quiet. No birds, no wind, not even insects. Every instinct told me I wasn't alone anymore. About 10 minutes later, I noticed another trail. It wasn't on any park map. The path was narrow, almost hidden beneath dead leaves, leading deeper into a section that had been closed for decades because of unstable ground. I should have turned back. Instead, I followed it. After another quarter mile, I found an old ranger cabin I had never seen before. That shouldn't have been possible. I'd studied every historical map during training. This cabin wasn't documented anywhere. The windows were covered from the inside. The front door hung slightly open. Someone had recently walked through the dust. Fresh boot prints, the same size as the missing man's. I announced myself. "Park Ranger, if anyone's inside, answer now." Silence. I pushed the door open. The cabin was empty. Almost. A wooden table stood in the center of the room. On it rested a small notebook. Every page contained dates, hundreds of them. Each date had a single name written beside it. Most meant nothing to me, until I reached the final page. My own name, written in fresh black ink, along with that day's date. A loud knock echoed from the opposite side of the cabin. 3 slow knocks. I spun around. There was no back door, only a solid wall. Another 3 knocks, closer this time, coming from inside the wall itself. I backed toward the exit without taking my eyes off it. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, heavy, slow, walking directly above me. The cabin didn't have a second floor. I ran. Branches whipped across my face as I sprinted back toward the service road. Behind me, I could hear footsteps matching my pace, always just beyond the trees. Whenever I stopped, they stopped. When I finally reached my patrol truck, the forest became silent again. Search teams spent 3 days looking for the missing hiker. They never found him. When I later returned with senior rangers to locate that cabin, the trail was gone. So was the building. The GPS coordinates led us to an empty clearing. Nothing else. I transferred to another park 6 months later. I've never gone back. But every October, on the anniversary of that search, my work radio, no matter where I am, bursts into static. Then I hear the same quiet voice. "Can you hear me?"